Hello, welcome to Psychology 235, Human Growth and Development. My name is Christian Leseg. I'm your instructor. Glad to have you on board. So the purpose of this video is just to kind of give you an introduction to the course, as well as a little bit of insight to help you navigate and be successful within this course. So first of all, we'd like to talk about the textbook. And so I provided a link in this course syllabus in order to obtain the textbook either through the Front Range Community College bookstore or the website of the publisher, or if you prefer to have the ebook version, I also provided a link within the course syllabus, in order to locate that as well. So if you have any questions, please send me an email or a D2L message. And what's important, I would just want to make you aware of, whenever you send me a message via email or D2L message, please include the course number, which is, this is Psychology 235 or PSY 235, and then the section. Okay. So after that, I'd like to talk about basically the basic layout of the course. And so in the study of psychology and human development, basically what our objective is to study human development throughout the entire lifespan. Now, basically, we're going to take a look at 8 phases of human growth and development, starting at the prenatal phase all the way through the end of life phase. And so there are 8 phases we'll take a look at. And those are located within your textbook, and you'll see that it is divided into 8 phases of growth. Okay, so each phase of development actually has basically 3 chapters. Now, why 3 chapters for one phase of development? Well, each set or group of 3 chapters actually is comprised of the biological, the psychological, and the social components of that individual phase of human growth and development. So we call that in psychology, we call that the biopsychosocial perspective or the biopsychosocial lens. Okay, so we're going to actually talk about each individual chapters too. Well, you'll notice that within D2L here, if you click on course materials, which is on the upper far left here, which is follow me and we'll go through that. We click on content, and that's coming right up. Okay, and I'm going to move our screen over just a little bit. Okay, so don't be concerned here. All right, so basically this is the table of contents, and this is right here. You'll see the very top of that, you'll see getting started, and right there is a link where you can click on the course syllabus. So I have a little bit of a welcome message here for you. And if you scroll down a little bit, you will find the link to the course syllabus. And keep in mind, you can also find, I also included that elsewhere, but this is the best place to find a copy of that. Now, I highly recommend, that you please locate the course syllabus, print up a copy for yourself or download a copy and save it, as you will be required to refer to that very often, almost on a weekly basis, in order to keep up with the development of the class. Okay. Now, down below the course syllabus and the schedule, there's a video that I produced here a little bit for those of you who are interested. It's called How to Succeed in This Class. So you can click on that in order to view that. And it's just a few recommendations, some hints, on how to succeed in this class. I think it's a very short video, no longer than, 10 to 15 minutes or so. Okay. And then under week 1, you'll see that starts right here. I'm going to click on that here for you. And we're going to get started here on week 1. So as I said a little bit earlier, within each chapter, there are 3 components that I put together for you. Okay, the first of those is for each chapter, every single chapter in this book that we're going to cover, I created a lecture video for you. And so what you would do is click on this and view that. And that's probably anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And I will cover all of you'll see that I will actually go through the PowerPoint and I will actually elaborate upon all of the important, components, the big items that you should be aware of. Okay? So for each chapter, you will have a video or a lecture video, some people like to call it that. You will have a copy of the PowerPoint, the exact same PowerPoint that I used in the video. This is for your own personal studying and review, as well as I created a study guide for that chapter. Now, the study guides are about 20 to 25 questions. They are multiple choice questions. So once you've actually watched the video, you might be able to answer. Some of this will look familiar, and you'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And you will probably have a lot of success in answering those study guide questions. If not, definitely watch the video again or look in your textbook. Okay? Once so basically there's a 3-step process I recommend. The first step is always watch the lecture video first at the beginning of the week. Okay? Then try answering the questions to the study guide. And then if you can't answer a few of them or something, a couple of them, then, refer back either to the video or to the PowerPoint or to your textbook. And so your textbook is actually step 3, and that's where I recommend reading the entire chapter from start to finish. The reason why I do that is because I want you to have a strong foundation or a framework. And then once you achieve that, then as you're reading through the textbook, the chapter, you will say, "Oh yeah," you'll start recognizing things. You start saying, "Oh yeah, Chris did talk about that in the video," or I saw that in the PowerPoint or something like that, or in the study guide. And so definitely, as you scroll down, we're still in week 1 here, you'll see chapters 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and those are the 4 chapters for week 1 to take a look at. Okay, and then also for each for each week, we basically will have a quiz. Okay, so you can see right here, I said, quiz number 1, chapters 1 through 4. Well, I recommend not attempting the quiz until you've done, the study guides for each chapter, okay? And the reason why is because you'll recognize a lot of the questions that are within the quiz, you'll actually have answered those in the study guides. And so good news is I actually allow 3 attempts per quiz. So I recommend you do those throughout the week. So take, for instance, say if Wednesday night, just for instance, you try the first attempt and you get maybe 7 out of 20 questions. By the way, each quiz has 20 questions. And so you missed a few. Well, so what you do is you actually go back and study, look at the questions you missed and find the right answer for those, and then try attempt number 2. And hopefully by the second attempt, you will have answered most of the questions. And then, of course, if you didn't, you still missed one or two, then you have one more attempt. Now, the good news is quizzes each week that they're open, they are open from Monday through the following Sunday. So throughout the entire week. Okay, so you have an entire week to do the quiz for that, for that set of chapters. Okay. So another thing I'd like to make you aware of is there are 4 chapters in week 1, but the reason why there are 4 chapters is those 4 chapters are the first 4 chapters of the textbook, and those are designed basically to give you a strong foundation from which to pursue studying all the 8 phases of development. And so I'm not going to elaborate too much on that right now, but I promise you once you get involved and you start engaging with this, you'll see exactly that this is very logical and laid out really well. And so another thing too, as an educational psychologist, I'm very much a fan of repetition. And so that's why I'm giving you multiple chances to go over the material each week, because I want you to, be able to repeat and see certain key concepts and terminology and everything so often that it'll maybe go into your long-term memory a lot easier. And so by the time you take a quiz or eventually when you take an exam, a lot of this will look familiar. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. And so each chapter, just want to remind you, each chapter will have a lecture video, it will have a study guide, and it will have the PowerPoint that I used in the lecture video. The exact PowerPoint, so that way you can review that on your own as you study. Okay, now let's talk about each phase of development. Okay, so each phase of development, I'm going to move to, say, chapter 2. Okay, I'm sorry, not chapter 2, but week 2. So just bear with me for a second. Week number 2 coming up. Okay, so week number 2, as you can see here within content right here, it says, we will look at the first 2 years of human development. Okay, so you'll see right here, that there are 3 chapters. Chapter 5 is the biological. Chapter 6 is the psychological. And chapter number 7 is the social components of that phase of development. Okay, so each phase, I'd like to talk to you really quickly. I want to remind you that each phase of development will have 1 quiz with that. Okay, so looking down here, going down below here, see quiz number 2, chapters 5 through 7. Okay, and it always has the starting dates and the ending dates right there for you. So that should not be too confusing, but if it is, feel free to contact me via email or D2L message, okay? Okay, and then you'll see starting on week number 2 here, for this phase of development, and for every phase of development that we're going to cover, there will be a discussion. Okay, discussions are open just like quizzes. They are open from Monday through the following Sunday night at roughly 11:30 to 11:59 p.m. So you have the entire week. Now, one important thing I want you to know about the discussions is the way they are designed here, and I'm going to click on one. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So discussion 1, covers the first 2 years of human development, and I will give you directions on what to talk about. Now, in summary, to keep it very short and simple, what I require for students to do in these discussions is there are 2 components each week. okay, each discussion week. Number one is you will be required to submit your own initial post no later than Friday night. Okay. All right. And so the initial post is basically comprised of, for each chapter, I would like students to choose one item of interest from each chapter that they found to be interesting, educational, or interesting, or something that they have personal experience in. And as you provide, for each chapter, a topic of interest, please include which page number in the textbook or which slide number from our PowerPoint slides that you found the information. That way, fellow students can look that up. Okay, so that's why I said down below here, I said, please cite the page number or page numbers where the information is to be located in order to help fellow students. Okay, and then of course you feel free to discuss your personal insights and experiences as well. Okay, and then the second component is please submit 2 responses to fellow students' posts no later than Sunday. So what that means is after you've already submitted your own initial post, then you will look at 2 posts, initial posts from fellow students, and then comment on their posts. So take, for instance, you might say something, for example, yes, I found that topic to be very interesting, and then please elaborate once you've said that. It requires more than just one sentence in saying, oh, I found that to be very neat or very interesting. Okay, so would like for you to elaborate, like why did you find that interesting? And maybe even say, I also found it interesting within our studies or within the textbook that it also said this. And then please, cite the page number maybe where you found that. Okay, so that is all that's required. And there will be one discussion due each week that we study a phase of development. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. Sorry if my computer is running a little bit slow today. Okay, so going back to week 2, and then so you can see everything is laid out exactly. So if you just take your time and maybe even write your own little checklist or something and say, okay, chapter 5 materials, and then check, you did all 3. Chapter 6 materials, etc. Check. Chapter 7 materials, etc. Then last but not least, the quiz. And once you've completed that, check it off. And then of course the discussion as well. And that is all that's required for week number 2. Okay. So I am going to proceed to week number 3 here. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I just want to show you that you can see right here, week number 3, here's the week that it's open, the dates that it's open, but also I always talk about what we're studying that week. So we're going to move on to early childhood. Okay, but I also, exam 1 will be due. Well, exam 1 is basically open the exact same amount of time that discussions and quizzes are open. So basically Monday through the following Sunday night at between 11:30 to 11:59 p.m. Okay, so it's basically 6 days that it's open. Okay, and so one thing I want to make you aware of is exams are they are multiple choice questions, and they are you'll notice that the questions in the exam are very closely related to the questions from the study guides. Okay, so there's a hint for you. So please never skip the study guides. Okay, or the quizzes, okay, because those actually will look very familiar once you take an exam. Okay, so in each exam is comprised of two phases of development. Okay, and so take for instance, I'm going to go down here. So I'm going to skip the chapter materials here. We're just going to go down below them. Here are the three chapters for this week, for week 3. Okay, but down below that here's the discussion for week 3. All right. And below that is the quiz that is due for that week. But then also down below that is the actual exam for the 2 previous phases of development. And so right here, for every exam, I remind you that it's chapters 1 through 7, for example. Okay, so I always tell you which chapters. Okay, so that way there should be help to sort of eliminate some sources of possible confusion or something. Okay, so just keep in mind each exam covers 2 phases of development. All right, and I always tell you which chapters that the exam is over. Now, another thing I want to remind you of: always keep a copy of your course syllabus schedule nearby, because that also tells you exactly when everything is due and which chapters that it covers as far as exams are concerned. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going back to the original home page here. And as that loads, I just want to tell you, every single Monday morning, you will be able to check in right here on the home page, our D2L homepage for our course. And I will have an announcement right here where I say, hello, welcome to week 2, for instance. And here's what we need to do. Here's what you need to do. And I will have links. I will say, click here for the learning materials for this week, or click here for this week's quiz, click here for this week's discussion. So everything will be right here on the announcements every single week, okay? Now, occasionally I will also record a video like this too, okay, just to check in with you. All right. For those courses where it's 100% online, I know instructors like to keep in touch with students from the class, and students definitely appreciate seeing the instructor's face and actually hearing a little bit of a verbal explanation on what to do. So I'm going to try to do that as much as I possibly can this semester. Okay, a couple of things I just want to also leave you with before we sign out here. So I'm going to move over here. We're moving over. There we go. Okay, and a couple things. Please strive, always look for due dates and times for every single item that is due. Take, for instance, discussions, quizzes, or exams. Okay? And please be sure to complete each item by the due date and time. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about very quickly is be sure and always check this D2L homepage, the announcements at the beginning of each week, because as a gentle reminder, I always tell you I will have a announcement, and I will tell you exactly what to do for the entire week. Okay, and last but not least, I just want to always feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns. And what's important is just reminding you, anytime you send me an email or a D2L message, please include your name, and then the course name, which is PSY 235, and then the section number as well. Okay, and so you can look right up above if you're not sure. Look on your syllabus, or look at the very top right here if you're on D2L, and it'll say, PSY 235, and it'll have the the three numbers that comprise the course number as well. And the reason why I do request that, is because that way, if I'm teaching multiple courses, I won't have as much difficulty in locating which class a student is from. And also, if they don't sign their name, more often than not, I will have to send an email back and say, okay, I'm sorry, but who is this? And which course are you enrolled? That kind of thing. And so, please do me a favor and be sure and include your name, the course number, and the section number in each email, okay? I appreciate that. All right, I think that about covers it, and our welcome video. And just want to again say welcome. I'm glad to have you on board, and feel free to contact me anytime there are questions or concerns or issues. And best of luck, everybody. I'm always here for you.